Good morning, warriors. Morning, everybody. This is our second episode of Morning Retention Talk, and hopefully you guys are doing well this morning and kind of moving on. We're in the Midwest here, and so it is almost around under 10 degrees almost every morning the last week or so, and so it's kind of invigorating, and you got to kind of keep going. A lot of people are getting sick for lots of different reasons, and so we have to kind of keep strong and keep what we're doing. And once again, I think that our journey that we're on helps a lot in that great detail. So some people have actually asked me about things like meals and things like that, and I think I did a video on that, a couple videos on that. But basically what I did this morning was I took a cold shower, and as you can imagine, if you're under 10 degrees here, nearing 1-2 degree, it's kind of a very invigorating type of thing, and it's good. So that I enjoyed, but I didn't stay in the shower too long, only a few minutes. So I usually try to stay in there 4 or 5 minutes if I can. I know they say you should do longer, so I'm kind of looking more into that. So if you guys have any kind of suggestions on that, let me know. But yeah, also food-wise, I have my tea. I usually try to drink green tea at night and in the morning. I try to do a fast most of the time between noon and 8 o'clock at night. Now, with working during the day, it's always hard to grab a couple things, and I try not to eat late at night. I used to do that a lot when I taught night classes all the time. I'd come home and eat at 9, 10, 11 o'clock. And it was just murder, my digestive system, my sleeping, and things like that. So I try not to have anything before I go to bed, except for a glass of water or this. Now, water is something that's wonderful for me, at least, and it's kind of given me a chance to kind of drop some weight and different things. But water is something you should always be taking a lot of. I know I was kind of dehydrated last week in a day or so, and it affects you a lot when you don't get some kind of water or some kind of drink. So make sure you do that. And then I did change it up a little bit today because I hadn't had some oatmeal for a while. So I always like to have a little bit of oatmeal. This is natural oatmeal, so I try to use with that, and then a banana or apple or something to kind of add to it as well. I've kind of stayed and moved away from carbs a lot. I'm still on a kind of a quasi keto type of diet. I will have carbs every so often to kind of shock my body, but now I'm kind of going to go on a day and a half fast. So I'm basically going to not eat anything until noon tomorrow, and that's kind of what I go, except for liquids and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm going to today. So just kind of, some people have always asked about that, so I want to kind of talk about different things that I eat and what I would recommend. Now, once again, I'm not an expert in any of this, so I want to kind of always state that. I know we get some people commenting that information is wrong and things like that, and that's fine. If we're here to discuss information. If people have better information, please, by all means, go ahead and send it to me. I'll talk about it a little bit, and maybe we can kind of add to it a little bit too. And so we did have couple comments talking about the breathing methods, and I think we will go back over that a little bit as far as transmuting energy upwards, and that's important to kind of look at. All right, so a couple of we're doing these morning talks just to kind of talk about some ideas that may have impacted us the last couple of days as a world, as an idea, things like that. And I'm going to try not to get any political on any of this, but kind of focus more on the retention part of it. And so Sidney Poirier died, and OG Air Max has sent me that message, and I didn't realize until Shannon sent it to me, and we did a video on that. And I kind of did one right away, and I didn't really remember all the films he was in and things like that, but he was a tremendous actor. I think he won a Oscar, and he had great films. I remember the one with Sir with Love, but he was also with Who's Coming to Dinner and several other types of movies. But sometimes you can tell if a person has using celibacy, using retention, those type of things. And how can you tell that? Well, you can look at the body of work the person does. How much energy they do. Well, and because they have to keep their mind away from doing all these type of things, watching porn, interacting, having sex, things like that, they have to do that. They have to get away from those to succeed. and get things done. So whether a person knows this consciously or unconsciously, they know that they have to kind of use this energy in a better way. Now, when you're younger, you may not notice as much. When you get a little bit older, because you do end up losing testosterone, from what I understand, as time goes on, you have to conserve it more. You have to be able to use it in different ways. Trouble with most people, and you saw this with the 95-year-old man talking on the video. If you haven't seen that one, go look at that one. It's a good one. That most men, especially, and this applies to women, but not as much as to men, waste a lot of their earlier days chasing women around because they have all this energy. They're not concentrating on goals and things like that. And I do think that this is an important concept to kind of look into as we discuss, why does the energy help us? Well, if you're a person who's younger, and let's go back even looking at the dating situation, with young men and women, and a lot of women who are younger, they're really, physically at least, at their most attractive behavior at that point in time. And a lot of that is to draw attention from males. And because they're younger, the males and females tend to procreate, have kids when they're younger, and hopefully be able to raise those as they get older, right? That makes perfect sense. And so the females are very attractive when they're younger, starting from 18, 19 years old all the way until, in their 30s, 35 years old. And so you have a lot of women in those age brackets that are attractive physically, and not that they're not attractive after that, but I think this is kind of the age group where a lot of men and women have children. Males, on the other hand, when they're focusing on success and doing things they're doing, will work on trying to achieve goals so that they can also have, some stability when they get together with the woman, to be able to have a, supporting system and having some money and having some things like that. But if the male goes out and just chases women around and they waste a lot of their years, as women do the same thing in their 20s, if they do that, well, then by the time that the men and women get to their 30s, well, it's very difficult for them to have a solid relationship if they've been sleeping with people left and right, losing all kinds of energy and things like that. And this is why, as people get older, they feel it more. I think when you're younger, and I felt this when I was younger too, that you have so much life to live, that you're invulnerable, nothing's going to happen to you, that you don't realize that all that energy you're losing is something that is hard to gain back. And it takes a lot of self-discipline to be able to become the strongest person you can become. And I think this is where activity is important, that you have to get to the point where you are being active and you're doing things with this energy that you have. And that's why we look at things in the morning and we look and say, okay, what am I going to do today? You should have a set of goals and things written down, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to just sit and watch TV. I'm not going to sit and be on my computer. I'm not going to sit and be on my phone the whole time. I'm going to go ahead and do certain things to be able to, get things done. And that's the important aspect of, part of using our energy and transmuting it in a way in which we get things done during the day and we're not wasting our energy. And for a lot of younger people, and I went through this when I was at that age, that is a struggle because peer pressure, this blue matrix, I call it, out there, all those type of things are telling you that you must be, if you're a party animal, if you're a real quote man, you're going to be out there, women all over the place and drinking and all this other kind of stuff. And all this reduces your energy and it makes you a less effective type of person. And you feel it, just think what happens when you release your energy. And I've seen this happen to all kinds of people. When you release your energy, a lot of people fall asleep. Or when you have sex with somebody, a lot of people fall asleep. Well, that should tell you right there that the energy you're losing, right, is zapping something out of you. Now, if you're younger, you believe, well, I can replace this, no big deal. But beware that it does take time to do that, and that look at all the wasted energy that you gave. Now, once again, I always will say the same thing I always say. If you're doing it to procreate and you're with somebody that you want to start a family with, well, that I think is within God's purpose. This other stuff I think is not in God's purpose at all. I think what it is a lot of profiteers out there trying to make money on you or have you follow a certain lifestyle so they can cash in on this in some way and make you weaker. And this is why men have to, and women as well, have to stand up and say, I'm not doing this any longer. I think women, from the history of things that I have seen, tend to be a lot better with this behavior. And this is why you had a lot of, women and men refraining, back in the old days, refraining from any kind of intercourse until after they got married. This is kind of an idea I was telling my kids about. And, it's kind of a, really archaic type of idea now. It used to be a very popular idea because people realized the benefits of controlling yourself, getting things done, using that energy for other things besides having sex, besides watching porn, things like that. So when you look at those type of things, you have to kind of say to yourself, okay, am I really helping myself here or hurting myself? And I think that's the key to my change over the last number of years. Now, I remember back when I was about 35 years old, I started reading this Fountain of Youth book. And I really wanted to overcome a lot of the problems I was having, even my middle 30s, moving to 40, overcoming a lot of football injuries that I had and other types of things to be able to, function. Because, I got banged up a lot playing football, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to live a long life and be prosperous. And so I kind of read this book saying, okay, this is really what I want to do. Now, I always have faithfully, for the most part, and I missed a couple of days here and there along the way, but I've been doing these exercises almost, 25 years now, right? But the thing is, I could not do for any long period of time the sixth suggestion. There's 5 of them that are basic exercise, and the 6th one is an exercise dealing with celibacy. And when we do that, I focus on trying to say, okay, now I have to be celibate and I cannot lose my energy. And you transmute that energy. And I didn't really fully understand that until I listened more over the last 9-10 years to more people talking about retention and brahmacharya and sophism, all these type of things, and realized that this world is backwards in the way we think about all this. And we're working on trying to figure out ways that you can actually go ahead and not release your energy instead of releasing your energy. And this has been a life-saving thing, God sent for me, because I think God was giving me the message finally that I can actually kind of go ahead and do a long streak. And this is the only time I've ever done 575 days. Yeah, I had streaks a week or two here and there, but I never really bought into the concept until the last couple of years. And now I realize that this is the way the world is. Now, obviously, with my wife, we had our children. And so I'm at the point where we're not focusing as much on and not having any more children. And so now it's a little different type of situation. And so, I think for our health benefit, it's important that we conserve as much energy as we can. Now, is there times that, we're all going to make mistakes? Of course. And I think we all do that. But the key is taking this as a lifestyle and realizing the more active I become, the more I can transmute this energy. All right? So I hope you guys get helped by a little bit of this and have a great morning and keep on your journey. And remember, the long-term goal is trying to become the best person you can become. And you can do that by starting with saving your energy and not throwing your energy away on things that are just short-term pleasures. All right, guys, until next time, have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Babylon.